it's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hat or Rat. And today we'll be reviewing episode 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 3. Our queens were challenged to roast themselves and the judging panel, and the Pearly Gates roast on the runway category was, oh my goddess, ethereal, mystical glamour. And we'll be breaking all that down by ranking each queen based on how I thought they did in the episode overall, by rating each queen's challenge in runway out of 5 flames. And then at the end of today's video, we'll be taking a look at and explaining the deleted posts from the Drag Race UK BBC social media accounts, and taking a look at Vanity's exit interview that she did with Digital Spy, in which she shares her thoughts on the season's diversity and what she wants to see from the franchise moving forward. We've got a lot to cover, but first, I've got a secret to tell you. Turns out I'm a bit of a mama's boy, and there's nothing that I enjoy more than giving my favorite person in the whole wide world gifts that she loves. That's why this year I got her something she'll never forget. A classic photo book from Chatbooks, today's video sponsor. Chatbooks are gifts that your loved ones will appreciate forever, and they're stress-free to make. First, download the Chatbooks app by clicking the link in the description of my video and using code HOLIDAY20 to get 20% off your first order site-wide. Then start customizing by choosing your favorite color, cover type, and preferred size. Next, choose where to source your photos from, and then voila, you're done. Just add it to your cart and click order. Shipping is quick, and Chatbooks has made my holiday shopping a breeze this year. So what are you waiting for? Get your loved ones a gift they'll remember forever by clicking the link in the description of my video and downloading the Chatbooks app. And remember, use code HOLIDAY20 to get 20% off your first order site-wide. Thanks Chatbooks for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's turn up the heat. First up, Orange you glad she didn't wear orange this episode? It's Vanity Milan. Vanity tonight in the main challenge had the tough task of following up Ella, which according to Ella's strategy was intentional. And I think Vanity's biggest challenge in the roast tonight was that she had a physical wall between herself and the audience, the podium, and also a metaphorical one in the way that she delivered her set. She actually started off by hyping herself up, talking about how she had sent some of the bitches in the audience home. And generally speaking, from what I've seen in successful comedy sets, both on Drag Race and off, it's typically better to open by telling jokes about yourself and then moving on to the audience or subject matter at hand. And that problem was of course layered with the fact that the challenge of the roast was to actually roast yourself, not hype yourself up. It also didn't help the rest of her set opening had a joke that we just heard in Ella's set about Anubis's name and having the word bus in it. Is the Anubussy still running? And then by the time she actually got around to roasting herself about her orange outfits, which was a great idea, it seems she just didn't know how to actually make those jokes funny. She did though, and we have to give her credit for this, have one of the best one-liners in the entire show when she looked over at Crystal, Kitty, and Ella and called them the White Supremes. Overall, Vanity failed to be funny, but for how damn good she looked and the White Supremes joke, I'm gonna give her 2 out of 5 hot flames on this roast. And over on the runway, she gives us our first golden goddess look of the evening. And I've got to say, waist up, I think this is one of Vanity's best runways. The detailing is immaculately ethereal. The heavy beading, chains, and crown detailing are perfection. There's literally nothing to complain about up top. However, when you look at the bottom half of her look, it does feel almost unfinished. It's like the top part is just so intricate, and then the bottom left me wanting more. Which isn't the first time I've said that. I think to finish this look off, she needed the chaining on the bodice to come down to about mid-thigh, and or to have worn a better shoe, maybe some sort of gladiator sandal pump that went up her leg. Overall though, a solid gold look from Vanity, and I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 flames, which brings her total score tonight to 5 out of 10 hots. Next up, Crystal Versace, who went first in the challenge. Also another strategic play by Ella. She was of course hoping that Crystal would bomb, leaving her a very, very low bar to step over when it was her turn. I've got to say though, as nerve-wracking as I'm sure it is to go first in a roast like this, I think it's actually one of the better positions because the bar is already low. The audience hasn't seen anybody and they're ready to laugh. So as long as you can tell a couple of jokes, you should be moderately successful. And if your name was RuPaul, well, then apparently you thought Crystal was extremely successful because she laughed at every single thing Crystal said. It is very clear that Mother Ru has a favorite tonight. As far as meeting the brief of the challenge, she did spend some time roasting herself and the judges, but all of her jokes were about her being young and a V word and the judges being old and decrepit. And as Veronica heckled her and said, those jokes were indeed getting old. Which was actually my favorite part of Crystal's entire set because even Ru herself jumped in on the heckling. And sure, she was nervous and she lacked a little bit of diversity in her jokes, but some of what she said was actually funny and I think her delivery was okay. So good or great, no, but okay, sure. I'll also leave this roast at 2 out of 5 hot flames. And on the runway, our little Virgin Mary takes her identity one step further by embodying it. And firstly, yes, she looks gorgeous, cinched, pinched, beat for the gods, body 10 out of 10, and every piece of the outfit is perfect. However, my problem here with this look is that we've seen it all before. This look is like if you combined Aquaria's glitterific runway with Yara Sophia's rendition of Gaga's McQueen look, and is almost identical to the look that Jujubee wore on her finale Eleganza look in All Stars 5. And I'm not sure if she directly took inspiration from any of these looks, but I do think it is in the queens' best interest that are going on this competition to heavily study what queens before them have worn on all seasons. Because as a fan of the show, I am looking to these runways to tell me the personalities and individual styles of these queens. I want to see something new, or at least a fresh take on a concept if it has been done 10 times prior. So while this look is undoubtedly amazing, I'm only going to give it 4 out of 5 flames tonight because we've been there, done that. Next up, Loosey Goosey Elevade, the star of tonight's show, who got to choose the order of the queens in the roast. And what a smart little cookie she is, because I think her strategy played out perfectly. Honestly though, she didn't even need the strategy because she was that damn funny. As the judges critiqued her, she left no queen unroasted. She went after Anubis, Veronica, Alan, Victoria, Kitty, Vanity, and Crystal. It was relentless. But her approach was also playful and allowed her audience to have fun with her as she read them for filth. My one critique though is that she kind of didn't meet the brief. This was supposed to be a roast about themselves, and I think she had one line from my count about herself when she made the comment about not seeing her dad very much as a kid. And she kind of skipped over Rue and Michelle, opting instead for Alan. So like, I guess you could say she barely met the brief, but it's also possible that she had more jokes that they cut. And I'm not trying to blame the editor or anything, but who knows? But then again, does the brief even really matter when you serve one of the top 5 funniest comedy set challenges across the entire franchise in the history of the show? No, it doesn't. This set gets 5 out of 5 flames for me. But on the runway, girl, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the Virgo constellation. I about choked on my own spit when she was bragging about that hair and how it's human and expensive and yada yada yada. And I was like, girl, how about you get an Ella refund on that wig? Which she was appropriately dragged both by the judges and her peers for. As for the constellation stoned bodysuit, I think it's serviceable for this runway. Does it say ethereal mystical goddess? Maybe, but not in the way that some of the other queens' looks did tonight. It was a choice. Ella reached for the stars tonight, but I don't think she even got off the ground. I'm gonna give this look 2 out of 5 flames. And finally, Kitty's got claws, jokes, and looks, which is why she's at the top of my list tonight. In the roast, I think she did overall an amazing job. Sure, she was a little slow to start, and I was scared she was gonna fall into that like storytelling trap, but she picked it up as she went along. And she was brave enough to take a knowing dig at the guest judge, using that pop culture reference database that she has in her brain, which also maybe was a little bit of her downfall tonight and why she didn't take the win. Like for example, Ella kept all of her jokes super topical, which kept me laughing the entire time. And Kitty near the end of her roast started getting super detailed into British pop culture, and I'm sure somebody in the UK that keeps up with all of that maybe thought her roast was super hilarious. However, I, as an American, was a little bit lost. That said, her set felt comfortable, her delivery was good, and overall, she was, I think, perfectly placed by the judges tonight, above Crystal and Vanity, but below Ella. And as far as meeting the brief, she definitely did. She made fun of herself for looking old and haggard, which is a lot further than Ella took her roast of herself. So I'm gonna give Kitty 4 out of 5 flames for this performance tonight. And on the runway, Kitty is giving me Athena, warrior, goddess. She looks like she literally just stepped out of the Hercules Disney movie, which was one of my favorites as a child. I love that the entire thing is flowy. Like for example, the bodice piece, which looks kind of armory, is even also flowy. Definitely tapping into that mystical and ethereal vibe that the queens were challenged to meet on the runway tonight. Plus, she looks damn beautiful and gets extra points for that crown of hair on her head. There's literally nothing that I would do to improve this look. This is a master at her craft. Kitty Scott Claus gets 5 out of 5 flames for this look. And as for my hottest hots tonight, well, Kitty did come out on top overall because of her strong main challenge performance and extra strong runway. I actually do agree with the judges, and my hottest hot in the main challenge goes to Ella Vidae. Kitty does take it for me in the runway category. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and for the main challenge, they also chose Ella, and on the runway, they chose Crystal Versace. So Ella, rightly so, earns her 4th badge in the competition, and I've gotta say, for any sliver of me that was left with a single doubt about Ella's CUNT, well, it was obliterated tonight with that roast. I left this episode thinking, wow, Ella could do a one-woman show like Bob, Bianca, and Trixie do. She's funny, can command a crowd, and she can work on the looks. And concerning our bottom 2, I did react to Crystal and Vanity's lip sync over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my patron family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my videos, access to exclusive videos, and access to the Bussy Queen Discord server. You can join by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. But my short thoughts on that lip sync were, wow. This is the episode that we needed that double save for because both of those girls turned it out. I honestly don't know that I could have picked a winner. However, I do respect Rue's decision though, because looking back at the competition as a whole, Crystal does have a stronger track record, which leaves us that our final 3 queens will be competing for the crown in next week's grand finale. So let me know down in the comments below. Are you hashtag Team Crystal, hashtag Team Ella, or hashtag Team Kitty's Got Claws? Now, let's have ourselves a cuppa. This past week, the Drag Race UK social media accounts have been getting called out for deleting posts. Here's what happened. The first one they deleted was a post of Crystal Versace, which had her hometown labeled as Tunbridge Wells. And because there was a lot of negative activity in the replies to the tweet version and in the comments of the Instagram post, people were speculating that World of Wonder took it down because of that negativity. However, they did shortly after re-upload all of the queens with their hometowns on the post, this time appropriately labeled as Kent. So ultimately, it does appear that there was no actual drama there and they were just correcting a labeling mistake. However, the next bit of deleting that we saw was a little more controversial. Right after the episode aired, the Twitter social media account posted a screen cap of Crystal, Ella, and Kitty sitting off to the side with the joke that Vanity said about them being the White Supremes. And if you saw this with context of watching the episode, you probably didn't think anything of it. However, Twitter had a field day with it because, well, I probably don't need to explain to you that if you don't have the context for the caption, it looks pretty bad. So I do think this post was appropriately deleted. Was the post bad intentioned though? Probably not, but it was a little tone deaf. And I think they were right to remedy the situation before it got out of hand by deleting it. And as for what Vanity had to say in her exit interview. So we brought this up in Hot or Brought, and it's also been addressed throughout the season that Vanity was the only black contestant in season 3. And Digital Spy directly asked Vanity, when the season 3 cast was first announced, there was a lot of criticism regarding the lack of diversity. What are your thoughts on that now, reflecting back? And she said, we definitely need in season 4 a very diverse cast. But when I say, quote, diverse, I mean, I need to see drag kings, I need to see AFAB queens, and I need to see more queens and kings of color on Drag Race. I think it's very important to showcase that the UK is not just drag queens and white queens. There's a lot of people in the industry who are of color who can give just as much as anyone else on the show. I think it's very important for me to continue that message, and I hope that I've done that justice. There was a lot of pressure on me to carry the torch for everybody. And I 100% agree with everything Vanity said there. The actual drag scene is extremely diverse. I think the bigger task will be for the casting team of Drag Race to figure out how to get these more diverse populations in the drag scene to actually apply, because it is so cost prohibitive to do so. Back when this season started, we were discussing this topic and looked at an interview with Frida Slaves in the UK who said the reason that she wasn't on season 1 was simply because she couldn't afford to get the outfits to apply. And I think an easy way to improve equity among casting would be for Drag Race to offer some kind of stipends to the queens and potentially kings that apply. Simply put, it's a lot to ask somebody to prepare 10 to 20 looks for a show that they're not getting paid that much for and for which there is no prize money in the UK. It's quite the dilemma. And as always, I want to say thanks to you for watching this video, today's video sponsor, and my generous patrons for making my channel possible. And I want to give a special shout out to Sabian Pito Holo, and Alexis McKernan, who've just joined my Patreon at the Hot tier, and Twinkie, who's just joined my Patreon at the Hottest Hot tier, and Lark, Ali Al, Angel, Cyrus, Felicia, Cody P, Jared Rocks, JB Joseph, Josh Marchand, JP in Dallas, Laura, Lisette, Maxi Lo Wow, Miss F, Neely, OG Debuse, Rochambeau, Scooby Snacks, Sailor, Steven, Tom Jaco, Tom Young, Topher, Triton, and Wheelie, who are all supporting me on Patreon at the Bussy Queen Collector tier. See you next time. Love ya. Bye.